Hey folks, Dave from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. Today I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nathan Nerdarch.
Pathfinder 2nd Edition character creation. Where we're going, you won't need dice. Hey, but after you get started with your Pathfinder 2nd Edition game, you are absolutely going to need dice. So in that case, we recommend Easy Roller Dice, who are sponsoring this video for all your dice rolling needs, whether it's your first set of dice or your 1 millionth set of dice. Easy Roller Dice. You can jump down to the description below where you can find a link to get your own set of Easy Roll Dice, as well as a one-time promo code. Oh, and there will be our monthly contest as well down there where you can win all the Easy Roller Dice and go check that all out. Also, down there you will find a link to Pathfinder and Paizo and the Playtest and all that good stuff, so you can kind of follow along or check it out for yourself. Now, Nerdarchy, as role players, as gamers, we love all role-playing games. I know we play a lot of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons.
We have our favorites.
We may have some favorites. We may have some biases. But that being said, I feel like we would lose some nerd cred if we didn't at least take a cursory glance at Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And I'm very curious as to what they're doing over there, and I want to check it out. And to that effect, me and you decided to make up a character. Our intern Jake, in this case it's GM Jake, sat down with us and took us through the process of creating Pathfinder 2nd Edition characters.
Yeah, and he helped us out a lot because I think the Pathfinder playtest rulebook is sitting over 400 pages.
Yeah, it's beefy. There's a lot of things to check out. I mean, even at Gen Con, we had a chance to sit down with Aaron, their PR person from Paizo, and talk about the playtest as well. So I'm definitely curious. I want to see what's going on there. And also, Pathfinder has been running the same edition of the game for a long time. Yeah. And now they're coming up with their 2nd edition. So this is big news in the industry. It's a big event.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were pretty much there with the OGL and 3rd edition. So it's a big deal.
Yeah. So, with that, we're gonna get into it. Jake had told us he had made a character with one of his players, moderately proficient D&D player. It took about 30 minutes to bang out a character, and we found for the two of us, we both made spellcaster-ish characters.
Yeah.
And we didn't sit down and each make our own character. Jake kind of just took us through all the steps for both of us. It probably took an hour and a half to create 2 characters. Obviously, had we just went off with our own character sheets and a book, it would have been much faster than that. It seems like 30 minutes is about what it would take. Maybe you can get it down to 15 if you get really proficient with the system.
I'd say as you make more and more characters and play more and more games, you kind of know what you want to be and what you want to play. So, and I, at the time, didn't know what I wanted to play. I thought I had an idea, and then I went completely different direction. So I was surprised it was so easily to get through it. It's got a nice process to it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of choices to make, so we're going to kind of take you through the steps. When you start off making your character for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, all your stats, they just start at a default 10. Leave your dice at home. You don't even need them for character creation. That's an optional rule.
Yeah, I like that, but I thought it's definitely an interesting choice compared to every single year I've ever played for games. I've always rolled dice for character creation.
Well, either you roll dice or you're going to use some kind of point buy, or there's a stat array. In this case, it's completely different. But as we make choices, it builds our stats for our character.
Yeah, it's like the stats are built into the different choices we're making.
Yeah, so step 2 was choose your ancestry. And what that's going to give you is that's going to give you your hit points. That's going to give you stat adjustments. There's going to be positives and negatives unless you're human. And it also gives you your ancestry feat.
Yeah, and that's one of the only ways you're going to get a score below 10 for a startup character.
Yes, absolutely. So then we go to step 3, and that's where you choose your background. Background is going to be stat adjustments, skills, and also feat again.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a recurring theme here.
Step 4 is you choose your character class, and this is where you get the core abilities of the class, and you also get a stat adjustment again, and feat.
Yeah.
At least one. Based on the type.
And it also gives you your hit points, right? So you're going to get hit points from 2 different places, and bam, that's the hit points that your character has. Also, when we say stat adjustment, remember, that's not just like one stat adjustment. That's multiple stats that you're going to change, and they go up by 2 each time.
Yeah, it's like a grouping, and a lot of times you get to make a freebie choice. So there's one that's going to be set in stone. That'll be for the ancestry, and then you'll have a choice to make with that, as well as when you do the background and the class.
Yeah, so whatever's thematic to that particular background, ancestry, or class, and even that might be a choice. It might be like choose charisma or wisdom, just for an example. I don't know if any of them are actually that, and then pick anything you want. So you do actually have a bunch of wiggle room, and if you really know what you want to build, there's definitely room for optimizing that.
Yes, absolutely.
So those are the 4 steps. Now we're going to talk about a little bit about the characters classes that we actually made, and yes, we actually have notes. So we went through, we made our characters, and we came up with some things. I made Halgren the Volatile, who just happens to be a goblin war alchemist.
So I got a confession to make. I didn't name my character. He's just a gnome.
He's just a gnome.
It wasn't in part of the character process. They forgot to say, pick a name, get a feat. That's what they should.
For me, it was very important that I had a theme for my character and I had a name going.
Okay, so his name's Clinton Tack Garboblast.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So I will say, because the way we went through the process, and had I had more foreknowledge, I probably would have did things a little bit different, because essentially I ended up with a negative stat in wisdom, and then very slightly above average scores.
Yeah.
An average score and, a high intelligence, right? So I would have built it a little different, because I have a bunch of 12s where I'm like, you know what? This is probably, as an alchemist, I'm probably going to need my dexterity to hit things.
I'm winging stuff around,
Yeah. So, maybe I would have went with more average stats and everything else, and then tried to crank up my dex a little bit more.
Yeah, I think if with more knowledge of the system, you can better optimize the characters. But just going through it and being, I like this, I'm going to pick it. It was a bit hard to try and super optimize anything. So I think I got a 16 out at the highest.
No, I did the same.
And that's because I didn't make. You got to pretty much make every choice to be your prime stat that you want if you want to get that 18 to start.
Yeah. So feats, I ended up with actually 4 feats, which is kind of cool. My goblin feat, 2 skill feats, and then my actual class abilities, quick bomber, so I can throw more bombs.
Well, originally I was going to do battle master or some kind of war wizard, and then I picked gnome to start, and then this is going downhill fast. I don't think I'm doing battle master anymore. I feel inspired to not be a battle master, so I went. Gnomes are kind of they can go with magic stuff, or they can go more Fey realm stuff. So I actually went with a familiar to start, an animal. Well, I said an animal companion, but I'm pretty sure it's technically a familiar.
Yeah, they're very much pet oriented or Fey oriented was what we found, I think. And you were like, oh, I like familiars, and you started going down that road. And once you started, there was no going back.
Yeah, and then I picked up some craftiness, and then I went with a sorcerer build, more magic-like, and they gave you another choice to pick a familiar. So I don't think in the playtest they said anything about not having to, so I picked 2. So I've got 2 familiars. Unless that's totally illegal, and we just don't know yet.
Right. Wasn't there another spot where you could have picked up a 3rd familiar as well?
I could talk. There's talking to animals and a few other animal things, but maybe there was another spot I could have picked up on, but I decided to set it aside and not do it. 2 was enough. 2
was enough. Now, I will say, looking at the playtest and building a character, I felt like in the 2nd edition Pathfinder role-playing game, your choices seemed more impactful, and they seemed to flavor your character a little deeper than in the regular Pathfinder RPG, where in 1st edition, it's kind of well, here's a +1, here's a +2. It didn't feel as thematic until you stacked a bunch of them together. Mm-hmm. Where here, I feel like my alchemist goblin, has more personality because of all those choices I made.
Yeah, it's almost different branching paths, and once you go down one of the paths, all the rest of them are off to you in a sense of what kind of character you could have been.
Yeah, it starts to really inform your choices.
Yeah, rather than with 1st edition, you'd have a class, and then you would augment that class with feats, and then race choices and other things like that.
So, all in all, like we went through the process. I found it was pretty smooth. It was easy. It was fairly intuitive, like we said, because of the choices you made kind of informed your other choices. Now, I can't wait to play this character. I know GM Jake had mentioned about possibly running the adventure path that they give with the playtest material, which then has like different choices like themed towards that actual adventure path. But I kind of really want to play my goblin now. Even though he might not be able to hit anything, he's going to have to place his bombs and run away.
Yeah, they're like, oh no, they're chasing me.
Yeah.
Suckers.
I think so. If we do go forward with playtesting and running some games, do you want to play with this character you made, or do you want to make up a new one?
I kind of want to see if my character that I made would survive the adventure that they have planned. Because he's certainly not optimized. He's certainly not a crunchy character. I mean, I don't even know what the familiars can do, really, except to have a few different little...
Except for you have them.
I have them, and they do augment spell stuff, and they do cool stuff. But, it's not like, go kill all my enemies, minions.
They're not all Pikachus.
Yeah, it's not like I can just toss them and run away and be like, yes, XP. So I'd like to see if he can survive this adventure. So I'm going to play him as is.
Well, my goblin has like 15 hit points to start, so it's pretty impressive. I believe that's the same number that you came up with too. So
yeah,
and that's kind of odd too. If like that's the low end, right?
Yeah, because we're both spellcastery types.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see. The question is, folks, what kind of characters are you making for the Pathfinder 2nd Edition playtest? We'd love to hear all about them. We have a place for it down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And also don't forget to check out the promo code in the description for your easy roll of dice.
As well as that contest. So until next time, stay nerdy.